Liam had been waiting for this weekend getaway for months, convinced it would be the perfect escape from the monotony of their routine life. He had meticulously planned every detail: the secluded cabin tucked in the mountains, the wine, the long walks, and the quiet evenings by the fireplace. He wanted this to be a celebration of their marriage, a chance to remind himself why he had fallen in love with her. The moment they arrived, everything seemed idyllic. The snow-dusted peaks glimmering in the fading afternoon sun, the crisp air wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. His wife, Eliza, smiled in that way that once made his heart skip, her laughter mingling with the crunch of snow underfoot. For a fleeting moment, Liam let himself believe that nothing could ever touch this fragile happiness. It was late that night, after a dinner of roasted trout and glasses of deep red wine, that Liam noticed Eliza retreating to her suitcase with unusual secrecy. At first, he dismissed it as the typical unpacking routine, but then a glint of paper caught his eye, a folded, worn envelope she seemed almost desperate to hide. His pulse quickened, and curiosity, like a whispering ghost, urged him to act. While she stepped into the bathroom, he slipped the envelope from her bag. The name scrawled across the front made his blood freeze. It wasn't addressed to him. It wasn't addressed to anyone he knew. Opening it, Liam felt the first stab of disbelief as he unfolded letters that revealed a life he hadn't imagined. Each page was worse than the last. Detailed confessions of secret meetings, manipulative schemes, and betrayals that cut deeper than any blade. Eliza had been writing to someone not just unknown but ominously important to her, detailing thoughts, plans, and desires she never voiced to him. The words trembled with intimacy and deceit, painting a picture of a woman he thought he knew utterly, now entirely foreign. The final letter spoke of a rendezvous planned for the weekend, the very weekend they were meant to be together, laughing, holding hands, building memories. The thought that she had been planning to betray him while he meticulously prepared this escape made Liam's hands shake. Before he could process further, the cabin door clicked open, and in walked a voice that sent a cold ripple down his spine. Mara, a close friend he had trusted for years, her face lit with a half-smile, half-smirk, carrying a mug of coffee as if nothing was amiss. "I thought you might need this," she said casually, setting it on the table, her eyes flicking to the scattered letters. Liam froze, his heart pounding with a mix of dread and confusion. How had she known? Why was she here, now, in this cabin, while Eliza was in the shower? Mara's gaze was sharp, almost predatory, and when she spoke, each word cut him deeper than any revelation the letters had delivered. "You always think you know everything, Liam, but some truths aren't meant to be discovered until you're ready to see them," she said softly, her voice laced with a dangerous calm. The room seemed to shrink around him, the firelight casting jagged shadows over her face, making her look both familiar and terrifyingly alien. Liam wanted to throw the letters away, to deny what he had read, but every instinct screamed at him to listen, to absorb. Mara stepped closer, and in that moment, Liam realized that this was no accident. She knew about Eliza's secrets. She had orchestrated something. Whether to expose him, to test him, or to manipulate him, he didn't know yet. And as she spoke, Liam felt a strange and forbidden pull, a possibility to reclaim power in a situation that had been designed to destroy him. "You could confront her," Mara whispered, her hand brushing over one of the letters. "Or, you could use this. Turn it. Make her regret every single word she ever wrote." Her suggestion was intoxicating, a venomous promise that promised liberation at the price of his own morality. Hours passed, the two of them silent except for the occasional clink of mugs and the whispering wind outside. Liam's mind raced, piecing together betrayals, decoding motives, questioning loyalties. Mara's presence was maddening. Each sentence she delivered a tormenting mixture of temptation and clarity. He felt his anger rise, a slow, burning fire, but intertwined with it was something darker. Desire, empowerment, a craving to not just survive the betrayal but to invert it completely. The letters had shattered his world, but Mara was offering him a blade to rebuild it in his own image. When Eliza finally emerged, radiant and unsuspecting, Liam felt a twist of something he couldn't name. pain, fury, and a cold determination all at once. She noticed the scattered letters and Mara's presence, and her smile faltered. "What's going on?" she asked, the casual confidence she wore for everyone else slipping for just a second. Liam held up a letter, feeling the weight of revelation settle in his chest like a stone. "These," he said quietly, his voice barely a whisper, yet carrying the weight of storms, "tell a story I never knew I was part of." Eliza's shock was immediate, her carefully maintained composure fracturing as her eyes darted from the letters to Mara to him. You went through my things?" she stammered, but there was fear behind the words now, a crack in the armor she had worn for years. Liam didn't answer immediately. He let the silence speak, letting the fire of betrayal burn long and slow in the space between them. Mara watched from the side, silent but almost gleeful, and in her gaze, Liam recognized the truth. He had a choice. The letters weren't just proof of Eliza's deception. They were a key to reclaiming control, to turning humiliation and heartbreak into power. The cabin seemed to pulse around them, the walls echoing secrets, the firelight revealing truths too painful to deny. Liam felt every heartbeat as if it carried the weight of centuries of trust, love, and lies. Finally, he spoke, his voice steady and chilling. "You've spent years writing stories you thought I'd never read, planning rendezvous and betrayals while I built a life for us," he said, holding up the letters with deliberate care. "And I stayed blind, thinking everything was perfect." Eliza's lips quivered, her eyes wide with panic. "But it ends tonight," he continued, the words sharp, slicing through the room. "Not with anger, not with screams, but with the truth you tried so desperately to hide." He turned to Mara, who merely nodded, the faintest smirk curling her lips, a silent acknowledgement of shared power and understanding. Liam knew what he would do next would shatter everything, irrevocably, but for the first time in months, he felt the intoxicating clarity of control. The letters, the betrayals, the manipulations, they would not break him. They would forge a reckoning, a moment of irreversible truth, and in that instant, Liam felt the cold, piercing exhilaration of justice, heartbreak, and empowerment entwined. Eliza reached for him, tears streaming, voice trembling. "Please. I can explain. Liam shook his head slowly, each movement deliberate in its finality. The firelight reflected in his eyes, burning away past illusions, illuminating a path he had chosen not out of malice but out of self-preservation. "No," he whispered, his voice carrying the weight of heartbreak and inevitability. "There are some stories that end only once the truth is finally seen." And with that, he walked past her, past the fragments of trust and love they had shared, leaving her trembling in the glow of the firelight, Mara silently following, her presence a haunting reminder of both betrayal and opportunity. The weekend that had been meant for celebration had revealed the deepest betrayals of his life. Yet in its horror, Liam found an unexpected liberation, a painful but powerful reclamation of a life he would never allow to be dictated by deceit again.